The great trickster god of the Norse pantheon, Loki, was a devious deity known for his many schemes and deceptions. A shapeshifter, Loki's forms were as varied as the motives for his mischief, which included wealth, women, wisdom, and the sheer pleasure of his knavery. Loki's father is the giant Farbauti, cruel striker, and his mother is Laufey, the meaning of which is unknown, or Nal, meaning needle. Laufey Nal could be a goddess, a giantess, or something else entirely. And as Loki is a trickster, he does look very similar to the Joker. For the centuries that Norse mythology has been a subject of scholarly study, scholars have been unable to explain the meaning of Loki's name. Elda Haida noticed that Loki often appears in contexts that liken him to a knot on a thread. In fact, in later Icelandic usage, the common noun Loki even means knot or tangle. Spiders are sometimes referred to as Loki in a metaphorical sense, as their webs are compared to the fish nets, which are made from a series of knots and loops. From all this, the most straightforward meaning of Loki's name would seem to be knot or tangle. Mictlantecuhtli is ruler over Mictland, the lowest underworld in the northern realm of the dead. He's associated with the spider, the owl, and the bat. Loki in Norse mythology is a cunning trickster who had the ability to change his shape and sex. He was the principal cause of the death of the god Balder. Loki was bound to a rock as punishment, thus in many ways resembling the Greek figures Prometheus and Tantalus. Also, like Prometheus, Loki is considered a god of fire. Seraphim signifies a fiery serpent. A Babylonian name for the fire god Nergal was Sherapu. In Egypt, there have been found eagle-lion-shaped figures guarding a grave to which is applied the name Seraph. The equivalent English term is griffin. Seraphim are, in Jewish theology, connected to the cherubim and the ophanim as the three highest orders of attendance on Yahweh, and are superior to the angels who are messengers sent on various errands. As the cherubim in popular fancy were represented by the storm clouds, so the seraphim were by the serpentine flashes of lightning. Norse is not the only mythology with a trickster. The Kusa represent the spirits of the ancestors or ancients of the people, those who have direct influence with the gods. Kokopelli is the fertility god of the Hopi tribe. He's a happy soul who wanders playing the flute. Kokopelli is also known as a trickster because of his carefree nature. So we have Kokopelli playing a flute, who is also a trickster, and the jokers, who are sometimes playing a flute. The clown chakra. It was believed among the Lakota and other tribes that if you had a dream or vision of birds, you were destined to become a medicine man. But if you had a vision of Thunderbird, it was your destiny to become something else, Hayoka, or sacred clown. While all things in nature move clockwise, Thunderbird is said to move counterclockwise. Thunderbird is said to have sharp teeth, but no mouth, sharp claws, but no limbs, huge wings, but no body. All of these things suggest Thunderbird and the Hayoka have a curious, paradoxical, contrary nature. You could become Hayoka through a vision of the Thunderbird, or just of lightning, or a formidable winged being of power. While clown societies were found throughout the plains, the Hayoka or sacred clowns were usually few in number, but were found in almost every clan. Hayoka were contraries, often speaking and walking backwards. They dressed in a bizarre and ludicrous manner, wearing conical hats, red paint, and a bladder over their head, and bark earrings. The Haiko was thought to usually carry various sacred items, a deer hoof rattle, a colored bow, a flute, or a drum. His anti-natural nature was thought to be shamanistic in origin. As a contrary, he was expected to act silly and foolhardy during battle, although this was found more among warrior clown societies such as the Cheyenne inverted warriors. Like the flash of lightning, the Hayoka sudden outburst and disturbances were thought to be the keys to enlightenment, much like absurd acts of Zen masters in Japan. Hayoka masks in black and white. I've always been fascinated with the concept of sacred clown. Among the Lakota, they were called Hayokas, clown priests. Sacred clowns are found among the Pueblo peoples as well, for example, the black and white striped clowns of the Zuni or the Hopi. It is said that even at the most serious and important rituals, the clowns, and only the clowns, may do whatever the spirit moves them to do. When I organize ritual events and ritual theater, along with calling the corners and making a sacred entranceway, I always had sacred clowns. And just like the Hayokas, they could do what they wished in the course of the otherwise scripted ritual, because they are those liminal ones, the ones that circle the periphery. They are possessed by that aspect of life that is mutable and changing. The horns on his head up there made me return to the Hebrew alphabet. This is called Shin, the star of Moloch or Moloch, a horned entity. He has 2 horns and a point on the top of his head. To me, this looks like Shin. Their sons and their daughters they sacrificed to the idols of Canaan. In Paleo-Hebrew, Shin means eat, consume, destroy. Shin like teeth and fire, the force of the authority, fierce, dynamic, intense, like teeth on gear wheels, turning, causing powerful results, a consuming fire that purges or destroys. Shin in ancient pictograph, paleo and modern, which looks like a crown. Incidentally, the paleo reminds me of Inanna Ishtar with her arms like that. Statue of pagan god Moloch placed at the entrance to the Colosseum in Rome. Well done, Italy. The hexagram symbol on the Israeli flag is the ancient star of Moloch, a satanic Baal deity to which people were sacrificed. Hexagram, as well as hexagon, is simply a cube in 2D. Facetting of a cube, Merkabah, is 3D, thus can be put in a cube. The star of Moloch, also known as Saturn, Huon, Rempha, Baal, is also Tammuz. The star of Remphan has 6 points, 6 triangles, and 6 sides. Inevitably bringing me to the black gak. I found this, I don't know what to call this. This spider-like creepy interpretation. This Facebook page is so strange. Oh, she's freaking out. She's freaking out. You got a needle in the arm, didn't you? This is some weird mime art. C19 holds a geometric structure called the Hexapentacus truncated Isosahedron. Robert Edward Grant discovered the stellated form inherent in Metatrom's cube-flower of life. So he supposes that the structure of this is a truncated isosahedron. The truncated isosahedron is an Archimedean solid with 32 faces, 60 vertices, and 90 edges. The truncated isosahedron, pentagonal and hexagonal faces. The hexagram in the cube is also related to Saturn. This is the net of the truncated isosahedron. The hexagon is 6. The pentagon is 5. 6 plus 5 is 11. And do you know what that structure looks like? It looks like this. As to what they tell us it looks like, you know how they obtain this chemical and you dare to put this in your body. Compounds with octahedral shape. For compounds whose central atoms possess 6 bonding electron pairs, their bonded atoms are oriented toward the corners of an octahedron. The best examples are phosphorus hexafluoride or hexafluorophosphate ion and sulfur hexafluoride molecule, whose Lewis structures are shown below. An important hexafluoride is hexafluorosilicic acid, which is a byproduct of the mining of phosphate rock. In the nuclear industry, uranium hexafluoride is an important intermediate in the purification of this element. Uranium hexafluoride, colloquially known as hex in the nuclear industry, is a compound used in the process of enriching uranium, which produces fuel for nuclear reactors and nuclear weapons. And what did I say about uranium? Uranium is a silvery radioactive metallic chemical element used as fuel in nuclear reactors and therefore connects to Inanna Ishtar, goddess of war. This is the Nordic cosmology of the 9 worlds. To me, it looks molecular, looks similar to the octahedronal geometry of sulfur hexafluoride. There's 9 realms and 8 molecules. However, I think it represents a convergence of worlds. That's why things look different and not how you remember them. A truncated isosahedron is an Archimedean solid, which for some reason looks like the carbon structure of graphene. These isolated hexagonal sheets are graphene. What is graphene? It's the world's first 2D crystal. latest invented allotrope of carbon, obtained from simple and abundant form of carbon, a single layer hexagonal structure. Potential applications: graphene biodevices, nano gaps in graphene sheets may provide new technique for rapid DNA sequencing. Transparent conducting electrodes, water desalination. It will replace or rejuvenate silicon and germanium as device material. Graphene integrated circuits and graphene chips. This is the electronic band structure of graphene. Someone's having a laugh. No, I think someone is having a laugh. This looks identical to the seal of Azazel or Saturn, and it also looks like the Star of Thelema with the 5-pointed Star of Ishtar in the center. Graphene is black, and then you have all of these black cubes around the world. And I told you in the middle of 2019 that this was all a Saturnalia. I was watching a video from Vicky S, and I'll leave a link for it. She was discussing the Jesuit symbol here. You see the H has a cross on it? Lead, ruled by Saturn, has a high cross because it was considered very corrosive. The alchemical symbol for lead is a H with a cross, and the Jesuit sign is a H with a cross on top of it and a sun around it. Gold has the symbol of the sun, perhaps because both are yellow colored, and they were obsessed with turning lead, Saturn, to gold, sun. The camea is a box with numbers. We are doing the seal of Saturn, and we go to Pythagorean numerology. C is 3, O is 6, V is 4, I is 9, D is 4. That adds up to 3, 6, 4, 9, 4. Those numbers are found on the Saturn camea, and when we connect them, it makes the shape W, which connects to Ishtar and Shin. Eat, consume, destroy. I've been thinking about the word matrix. Matrix, literally womb. Mater, mother. Origin, the womb or uterus. That within which or within and from which something originates, take form or develops. I break up the words may and trix. Trix, an ending of some feminine nouns of agent corresponding to creatrix, dominatrix, etc. Trix, 6 fruity shapes. Trix swirls, purple and blue is Jupiter. The advert for the swirls looks identical to the Norway spiral anomaly. And I was thinking Trix, Ixchel was the Mayan goddess of the moon, of love, of gestation, of medicine, and the textile arts. She was the wife of the sun god Akin, and was often represented accompanied by a rabbit. In hieroglyph, her name appears as Chakchel, meaning large rainbow. In the Chalambalam, a collection of books which tells about the history of the Maya civilization, her name appears as Ixchel, which means rainbow woman. It is said that an all-powerful god named Itzamna, one of the Maya gods who created the world, also married to the goddess Ixchel and produced 13 children with her, of which 2 also helped in the creation of the world, meaning she is a creatrix. Ixchel was revered as the goddess of the moon, aka Ishtar, because of her feminine character. She represented the fertility linked to the earth due to the fact that the cycles of the moon and those which determine the times of planting and harvest. She was associated with the rains and the Maya rain god Cha'ak. Again, the Venus rain Mai's associations. Mat, colloquial, a matrix. Lamat, doing the devil horns. Ma'at, the Egyptian goddess, stood for truth and justice. In fact, the name Ma'at means truth in Egyptian. Her followers believed that after death, the hearts would be weighed against her white feather of judgment. She also represented the primal laws of the universe that supported creation and prevented it from falling into chaos. Her roles were later absorbed by the goddess Isis. Yes, I delve into details because these are sorcerers and I'm unraveling the spell. In Germanic and Scandi languages, witch is hexen or hexel, hex, cell, hex, an evil spell or a curse. Hexagon, hex meaning 6 in Greek. Bees make hexagonal structures. I don't know how they do this. And the structure looks like? Graphene is an allotrope of carbon consisting of a single layer of atoms arranged in two-dimensional honeycomb lattice nanostructure. Who makes honeycombs? Bees. And who is the bee goddess? Aphrodite, aka Ishtar, whom the Freemasons worship. I've explained this a few times. We got a joker with bee transportation. 311, live from the hive. Hexagon. Hex. Hexus. Hexus is a magical creature that is never seen by the humans in the movie, and yet the humans are strongly influenced by him. Hexus embodies filth, pollution, destruction, chaos. This destructive creature takes the form of a dark, gooey substance that resembles oil, gum, and smog. Ferngully was released in the noughties, I think. We're in Australia here, evidenced by the kangaroo, and also the cassowary. They talk about humans having contact with fairies. We have a red-haired fairy playing the flute. Peter is a red-haired fairy with a flute. They encounter Batty, who escaped from a laboratory. He has a fuse on his head and receives random transmissions. You see the symbol on the right of the bat wings? It looks like Shin mirrored, and also the plasma discharge stroke squatterman. The symbol is plasma, but I think they demonize the meaning because they don't like people knowing this. After the snake bite video, someone sent me a picture of this. I think this one is photoshopped because a baby doesn't have control of their body, so the tail wouldn't be erect. I didn't know this existed, I was being facetious. But I think we know what we're looking at here. The baby looks like a gelfling. You want to check and make sure it's not growing a tail.
Human tails? Humans don't have tails. They have big, big bottoms that they wear with bad shorts. They walk around going, "Hi, Helen!"
This has been documented. He has a tail and severe lordosis. This is why I think the white baby is photoshopped. The appendage would be flexible and less firm if the infant did indeed have a tail.
Humans don't have tails.
I remember this film called Splice. She's a new hybrid species.